All right. I'm awake. Whew. All right, guys. So today we have non-farm payrolls, unemployment data. I didn't get enough sleep last night, but we're covering this today. We're here. We're awake. Amazon's down. Apple is up a little bit. Here's the NASDAQ pulling back still. Yeah, we'll see if we rebound. Honestly, the extension's probably on the upside today is what I'm assuming here. What's up, Sandy J, TK, BS, Jason, Keegan? This is a huge day in markets. Y'all don't even understand. This is like the biggest day of the week, except for maybe the FOMC day, but it's a big day. Today's a very large, important, relevant economic release day. Yeah. Do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We appreciate it. Are we gonna crash today? It's possible. You know, I'm not saying we're going to though, but we could. All right, so NFP data is expected at 185. All right, so also expected at the same time as unemployment data. And unemployment is expected, I'm pretty sure at 4.1%, 4.1%, yeah, 4.1%. So basically the same as last time. Payroll data, huge report. What's up, Phil, Steve, Ghost? See, a lot of people just showed up as soon as I hit start, so y'all are ready for these, huh? I'm assuming. Oh, I definitely just woke up, Steve. I didn't get enough sleep last night. If it was up to me, I would have slept another 45 minutes to an hour. But the show must go on, and I'm here to do it. You know, you can tell because like if I don't get enough sleep and I just woke up, my voice sounds like super deep, which it'll never stay like this. But that's how it is. If I first wake up in the morning, my voice is really deep. Top 3 deepest voices ever right now. But it's not going to stay like this. Within 40 minutes, it'll sound like Pee Wee Herman, you know. So it's all good. AMD actually technically green this morning in pre-market. Are there any other microchip stocks that are doing okay? What's up, Snow? Sandy. One set. Poke. I didn't either have to have a one-to-one with the press company. Hey, good luck, dude. Good morning, John. That price drop from yesterday, crazy, honestly. Yeah. Money never sleeps for sure. Edward Snowden. What's up, man? When does NFP come out? 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. We'll put a timer up. Let me. I forgot to do a timer. Here, we'll get it up right here. All right. We got 30 minutes plus 20 minutes, which is 50 minutes plus an hour, which is an hour and 49 and a half minutes. This is when the report comes out. We got a while. What's up, Jay? Money never sleeps, yes sir. Going down like Puffy. When I first read it, I didn't put which. Never mind. Yeah. He's had a fall from grace for sure the last month, 2, 2 months. I'm just waiting for my coffee to cool down. It's too hot to drink right now. I want to drink it. It's just too hot. It's going to kind of burn me if I try to drink it. It's not that hot. I was able to get a sip. Alright. Again, MU is still down today, but that's alright. The big one to look at as well, outside of both of these, is NVIDIA. Like, look, here's NVIDIA. NVIDIA at 106, 105. So, NVIDIA is back down to $100 a share. And this is really why the market's down. Like, NVIDIA fallen from grace all the way back. NVIDIA, everybody regained optimism for NVIDIA. You know, it bounced all the way back up to over 120 yesterday. You know, which is crazy. It bounced all the way back to 120 yesterday. And then during market hours, yesterday, what's ironic about all of this, though, in my opinion, this is what I think is crazy, is that NVIDIA bounced all the way back to over 120 yesterday, right? Over 120 yesterday, NVIDIA was back. All right. Then yesterday was the day with the least amount of economic data all week. Like, all that dropped yesterday was jobless claims, which is the weekly unemployment filings. Like, I know we had, and I guess we had ISM manufacturing PMI data as well, but still, those are some of the smallest reports we had all week. You know, the biggest reports we had last week were the FOMC meeting. Non-farm employment prelim data came out. Tuesday, we had the JOLTS report, right, and CB consumer confidence. Those are bigger reports usually than ISM PMI data. So for yesterday's jobless claims weekly report and maybe ISM manufacturing PMI to make the market come all the way back down to where we were prior to it. And then the big earnings that we had, which were Apple, Amazon, you know, Apple hadn't really moved a little bit. Apple hasn't really moved that much. It's down. It went down. It went up a little bit. It's now slightly green from this report, actually. And Amazon's down pretty big, but I don't think Amazon's influencing like big cap stocks, like mega cap stocks like Apple is. So it's just strange. It's a really weird, my favorite word is nuance. It's a really weird nuance today. It looks like the market is crashing. Well, what market are you talking about? Here's the Q. Let's take a look deeper. Q's definitely down, you know, but I mean, like, look at this trend. So, like, I guess the easiest way to see whether we're crashing or not is, like, if you looked at this trend right here, right? Like, if you looked at this graph right here, right? If you looked at this graph, and if you looked at this graph, would you say, hey, this was a crash? This is a weekly chart. I don't know if I would. If we have to call this a crash, then this is a crash too, and then this is definitely a crash, and then this is definitely a crash, right? So if this is a crash in theory, then we've crashed 1, 2, 3, 4 times in the last year, you know, which, and so in that regard, this is not a crash. This is a correction so far. And like, maybe it continues down. I don't know. It all depends on NVIDIA. NVIDIA is not even breaking the lows of the last week today. Stocks are certainly down, though, and they're certainly not looking optimistic. They're red, bloody, big earnings didn't help. You know, a lot of the times we'll have big earnings, and they'll help stocks. Like, they'll help stocks bounce back, especially in periods where we have really big red action. But not today, bro. They made it worse. Sell Intel and buy other chip companies like AMD, NVIDIA, Lam, AVGO, TSM, NXPI. Intel takes a long time to recover. I got out of Intel yesterday. I only had 4 shares left, though. So I lost, I think, like $5. And I might buy them back down here at 23s because they're super low. I just don't trust them. Like, the reason I don't trust Intel and the reason I decided to cut it is because I took a look at the EPS graph for Intel. And it didn't look good. You know what I mean? Like, here's the EPS graph for Intel. So the problem with Intel, very profitable company, up until 2 years ago. 2 years ago, they changed. They stopped being profitable. I don't know if this is NVIDIA competition or what. You can see the yearly trending 12-month EPS graph up here too. Like, they're just not profitable anymore. They haven't been profitable consistently. They've had losing quarter, 2 winning quarter, 2 losing quarters, 2 winning quarters, 3 winning quarters, 1 losing quarter. So they just haven't had consistent profits, and their margins have been kind of like that. And so I just don't trust them right now. But I do think they're going to be fine. And I think, like, let me look at the PE ratio. This is where I use Intel, or this is where I use AI a lot, right? I'll just do this. When I want to reference anything, PE ratio of 30. Not the worst. The current PE ratio is significantly higher than their 10-year historical average of around 17-16, indicating a premium valuation compared to its historical norms. I don't know. I'm gonna wait. I might buy a little bit of Intel and then wait. They laid off 19,000 employees many times. That can be followed by a bounce. Logistics too. The chips are burning out. New chips. Someone ring my bell. What's up, Crash? I'm sure you're loving this. Yesterday was nuts. Nope, time to buy more. Is it time to buy, guys? That's the question. Let me do a poll here. I'm not going to ask, do you think payrolls come in high or low? That's too easy. I'm going to ask something simple. All right, which is that with payroll data coming out today, does the market Man, I had a really good question I was going to ask. Does the market rebound? Right. Oh, wait. With payroll data coming out today, does the market rebound? All right, so Pawn says Intel stock is drastically dropping. They received a grant in 2022 and was supposed to use that to add 10,000 jobs for ongoing projects. They just announced they were trying to cut out costs by cutting 15,000 jobs. It's all part of a $10 billion cost reduction plan, and they also plan to stop paying stock dividends. I mean, I don't know though. So like, here's another side of this. Okay, so like, whoa, what happened to my chart? There it is. Here's another chart side of this. All right, with Intel specifically. You know, pulling up Intel here. So honestly, it's looking like they might have fixed their algorithm. Like, it's looking like everything's algorithm might be back. I'm pretty sure the algorithm is fixed again. Because okay, so for like the last few weeks, it's been weird, right? Like, it would take a long time just to get over 100 people here. Now we've got 200 people in like 5-10 minutes from starting up the stream, like 15 minutes. I think I started the stream 15 minutes ago. And so it looks like they fixed the CRWD thing, which is great. Which is great. I hope they did. You know, I knew what's really weird, so like, this is what happened, right? Just to put you in like YouTubers' perspectives. And again, this has not been just me. This has been major networks, big major channels, everybody. What happened was that basically like a month and a half ago, right? A month and a half ago, everything went from really good views to like one day it was just weird. It was off, right? And so I'm looking at everybody. Everybody's like, "Hey, is something down?" When I read dashboard, it said that, "Hey, like people are having a problem with their view counts," and so I'm like, "Okay, fine." But it was like a nerve-wracking day, and then the next day everything returned to normal. This last one happened for a couple weeks now. This has been weeks of this, and it looks like they finally got it fixed this morning. Because now we're already at 200. Yeah, so it looks like they got I assumed, like, judging by just how many votes we got versus views, it was almost certain to not be, yeah. So, that's good, I guess. I was like the first like today. What's up, TK? I went long on NVIDIA yesterday at closing, and I hope that Amazon and Apple could surge. Yeah, I mean, again, sometimes that does happen where we have good earnings that basically save us from like a bigger crash situation. The only thing about Intel is this, right? So Intel is still widely used. All right. So like when you go buy a laptop at like Best Buy or wherever, you can order it online, whenever you buy a laptop, generally speaking, they're going to have Intel processors, no? And that's not changing. Yeah, Nancy, it might be time, you know. Yeah, you probably have to refresh the screen. But y'all hit the like button as well, chat, if you haven't already. I appreciate it. Thanks so much. Yeah, so Intel CPU still holds 67%, 68% of the market share for x86 CPUs. I'm buying Intel down here, chat. I'm not going to buy like a huge position, but I'm going to buy a few shares at least once the bell rings in about 8 minutes. Yeah, but how do I go in from a subscriber pawn? All right. Yeah, so how do I go in as a subscriber? Because, like, I can watch the screen from the watch page, but even there, when I go there, there's no option to... I would give people memberships if I could, dude. When I checked on it last time, like, I can go to membership gifting, right? And then there's a bunch of options, but I got to pay for it. You know, so, like, there's an option for membership gifting, but it's going to make, like... But, look, I'll show you. I'll clip it, Pawn, and show you what I mean by this. All right, so there's an option for membership gifting, but it looks like this. Like, it's asking me to pay for it. Yeah, I can try on my phone. Yeah, we'll try it on my phone. And if it gives it, maybe it'll allow me to, I don't know if it'll allow me to gift individual memberships. If it does, we'll see. But I think it'll gift random people speaking in the chat memberships. What about if you tested them in? Is the payroll data more influential than unemployment? Yes. Payroll data is much more important. Unemployment rate's important, though. Don't get it twisted. Like, unemployment rate's very relevant. You know, if we come in at like 4.4%, 4.5%, that's bad, you know? So, yeah, unemployment's definitely important. Yeah, I'm going to try to come in on my phone. What's up, Alex? What's up, Sam? All right, guys. If I come in at 4.5% of September drop in rates is guaranteed. Yes, I believe so. Is good news, and bad news, John? Possibly, I think. I think numbers are back to normal They're back to conventional. Like, at least that's what I've seen. Like, they seem more true to convention than previous, years. I think we're back to normal, like good is good news, bad is bad news type of scenario at this point. Alright, so let me try to watch my stream. Memberships. Yeah, so it's only letting me buy it. Question mark. Yeah, I don't know. I would love to gift people memberships. I just don't think it's gonna let me. Do me a favor, hit the like button. I'm showing 42 likes. How dare you guys? I take 75 basis cut this year, thank you. That's a horrible idea, guys. Listen, we don't want rate cuts. I'm telling you, you don't. You think you do, but you don't. Every time somebody's like, yeah, we need rate cuts, guys. Again, unless they're directly related to real estate, which I feel like they never admit, right? I feel like they just don't admit being directly related to real estate, right? Instead, generally, it's like, hey, well, people are unhappy because prices are too high. It's like, well, yeah, well, what do you think cutting rates is going to do? It's going to make it worse. What's up, Snow? You got your membership, bro. Congrats, dude. I agree, we don't need rate cuts. I'm assuming they react negatively, Dominic. So Dominic says rate cuts will uninvert the yield. Go look at indexes the first 18 months historically when that happens. Blank. Again, I'm assuming we have negative bearish action. Generally speaking, like people are fearful when we cut rates. Why? Because cutting rates generally means something's wrong. Generally, right? Now, who knows? But in what ways do we need rate cuts? Somebody help me out. Unemployment's still at 4.1%. It's still relatively low. All right, so I'm reading this New York Times article. All right, and it stops, and so I'm gonna. This is by Paul Krugman. Again, he says, quote, "Do you remember the 2023 recession? I hope not, because it didn't happen. But back in 2022, there were so many confident predictions of imminent recession that I wonder whether some people have the vague sense that they must have come true." Right? Like, I mean, I don't know, dude. I actually kind of disagree with this dude. I think we did have two negative losing GDP quarters back to back. Somewhere around there. I don't know, remember when it was. I think it was in 2022, right? And so I don't know what definition he's going by. But again, I'm not necessarily agreeing with this, just to clarify. Like, I might be bullish and perma-bullish sometimes. But again, prior to any of this stuff, I told people it's possible that we get big bearish action. And we have. Anyways. Going back to quoting this guy, he says, quote, "Some of these predictions reflected bad economic analysis. The assertion that getting post-pandemic inflation under control would be the disinflation of the 80s, which required years of high unemployment. I would have told you that at the time this analogy was wrong, and in fact I did. This inflation doomerism of 2022, I'm tempted to say, was the least responsible economic projection, at least by mainstream economists, made in the last 40 years. But there was also a popular economic indicator that seemed to be flashing red. The yield curve, the spread between interest rates on long-term and short-term government bonds, normally slopes upward because investors demand a premium for tying up their money for extended periods. But when it inverts, when long-term rates are lower than short-term rates, that is historically predicted a recession. And recessions are these shaded areas on the chart. Yeah. So... Yeah, so just to show you the graph that they're looking at here in this image, which is an interesting image, right? So this is the graph that they're looking at in terms of economic recession indicators here. Also, I'll buy it up a little bit of Intel, chat. There we go. We bought up a little bit. I kind of want more. Let's see. We're going to take... You know, I'm going to take 30 shares of Intel. Not a huge position, but you know. Anyways, I want to show you this chart, guys. Again, I don't necessarily agree with this dude, right? But here's the Krugman. Here's the this is a yield curve inversion chart, along with the shaded areas showing where we've had recessions, right? So here is the yield curve. Here you can see it inverted here. It inverted in 2000. It inverted in 04. It inverted in like 2018, 2019, and it's been deeply inverted. It's been the longest inversion in the yield curve since 1980s. And so again, you might be asking, what is the yield curve inversion? It is when 2-year treasury bonds it is when 2-year treasury bonds, ooh, that's a bad drawing. It is when 2-year treasury bonds are greater in yield than 10-year treasury bonds. Right? So the 2-year is greater than the 10-year. What does that mean? That means if you buy, like, the easiest way I have experience with this is from buying up bonds. Right now, I can buy a 3-month bond, and that 3-month bond is going to pay me like 5.3%, 5.4% annualized. Right, for a 3-month bond. If I look at how long, or what is the yield of a 10-year bond right now, it's going to be probably higher, and that's opposite to what it should be. Yeah, so the yield of a 10-year bond is 4% right now, 3.99% actually. Thus is the inversion, right? Usually they like to look at 2-year and 10 years, but that's the inversion. Right now, again, short-term bonds, like the 3-month, like the 2-year, are paying much more than long-term bonds, which doesn't make sense. Long-term is riskier to buy bonds long-term. Why is it riskier to buy bonds long-term versus short-term? It's riskier to buy bonds long-term because the S&P 500 is going to give you about 10% a year on average. You know, 8%, 9%, 10%, 11%. Last year it did 24%. And so only sticking around at 10 long years at freaking 3.99% interest is a super risky way to lock up your money in treasury bonds. And they're not the most liquid things either. CDs or like ETFs for T-bills are much better in my opinion, but that's a different story. But yeah, that's the yield curve inversion. And again, it doesn't always equal a recession. You know, it doesn't always equal a recession. An example of this, or I guess it has most of the time equal to recession. It's never been perfect though, you know. So these areas right here, just to show you guys, are when the recession hits. So this gray area is a recession, this gray area is a recession, this gray area is a recession, this gray area is one, and then this is one too. So sorry about this music, guys. I'm just not hearing it. I'm sure there's a lot said about this current music. Yeah. So that is the story of right now. Right now, the yield curve has been inverted for years. And we'll see if it stays that way for a long period of time. Why? You just said they had terrible earnings. Well, because the time to buy is when blood is running in the streets, sir. And right now it's definitely trickling into the sidewalk for Intel. Yeah, the economy's not in a recession yet, though. This is something that's very true, right? Like, your argument wasn't the economy was going off a cliff. Lexi, your argument was that we are currently in a recession, and right now we're not. You know, right now we don't have 2 consecutive losing GDP quarters. We actually have 2.8% GDP. Payroll numbers have actually been a little bit strong over the last 6 months, and unemployment's been at 4.14%. You know, so now again, unemployment starts to spike up closer to 4.5%. That's definitely not good. And so we'll see about that today. Payroll numbers expected to get at 185. Good stuff, John. Thanks for teaching what I brought up a little bit ago. Yeah, all good, Dominic. It's good stuff, bro. It's important stuff. Like, my biggest problem is that a lot of people come here and argue about stuff when they don't really understand. Sometimes they do. You got a lot of good people here that know their stuff, but you also got a lot of people that just have no idea what they're talking about, and like they're just kind of throwing out buzzwords they hear on the news. And I'm not even saying that's a bad idea either, but that is the reason we're not in a recession right now. Yeah. Yeah, because one thing that you'll see being very clear, right? So like what Dominic is saying here, I think, is that historically, chat, all right, one of the changes here is that the Fed has been doing quantitative easing as well, right? So the Fed's been starting to do quantitative easing a lot earlier. So basically, the Fed's been protecting us more so from a recession by excess money printing and economic stimulus, right? And so that'll save us from a recession, because that's the point of the economic stimulus, like QE, money printing, cutting rates, is to save us from recessions, right? But sometimes it's not a bad thing. The only time prices ever go fully down are recessions and depressions, right? But what Dominic, I think, is saying here, going back to it, and again, I might be wrong, was that one of the things that you see pretty consistent is that we don't really enter a recession prior to the yield curve uninverting, right? Uninversion. And so we haven't had it uninvert yet, which means that like we're not in a recession yet, and you know the signal for a recession isn't there until the yield curve uninverts, usually, right? Again, another nuance of this is like if you're wondering why we have this big long extended break from recessions, it's because starting in 2008 the Fed started doing QE. They did it in 2020 as well. They did it right here, right? So like you can kind of see this little line right here, but it's not really like super out there. It's because the Fed did a lot of stimulus. They did a lot of money printing. They stimulated the economy, you know. So I think, yeah, that definitely happened yesterday in the wires. I don't want to be too specific, but the geopolitical conflicts have risen over the last 30 hours or so. The last 30 hours, a lot of stuff's going on. That caused a lot of fear, helped tank the market yesterday for sure. Yeah, but how do you go into it? As a subscriber? I don't know. How do you go into it as a subscriber? I have no idea, you know? Like, I don't think there's any way to go into the stream as a subscriber. It should be, like, I could do a Q&A here too, which is kind of cool. All right, chat. All right, I'll try, and if not, I'm just gonna. I'll try to give out some memberships here. Let's try it. I'll go ahead. All right, guys, let's do it. Membership gifting. Membership gifting. See if it charges me. Yeah, it charges me. Here, it's all right, guys. Here, I'm giving out 5 memberships to random people in the chat. You're welcome, guys. You're welcome. All right. All right, guys. There you go. 5 random people got memberships. Pawn. They gave Pawn one. B, they got you one. Shogun Solo. Barry, membership. Detra, membership. So, congratulations. They gave my mod a free membership. Oh, well. Cheers to you guys. Happy payroll day. You know. Good morning, best podcast on YouTube. Calm, relax, and the fastest updates available. Thank you so much, Mark. Sorry I didn't give you a membership, brother. Yeah. Mark it down because of payroll data leaks? Nah, man. I mean, they're always going to say it. You know, they're always going to say it's down from all this different stuff. Has anybody ever seen the Office episode where like they pick a random person to like give some type of benefit to, and it ends up being Pam, and everybody suspects it's rigged for Jim. Jim rigged it, and everybody got mad at him. They just did that to me with the membership gifting. Anyways, back to the point. I did buy up some Intel here, and again, I'm going to tell you why. All right, this is why. I'm going to try to hold this as long term as I can. I only have $30 a share, so like for me to lose anything significant, like if Intel drops down to $15. You know, $15 drop, I'm losing less than $300, right? So basically, Intel's going to have to drop almost 50% for me to lose $300. I think that's a reasonable risk reward. I think, here's my argument for it. Again, I might be wrong. Don't copy me. Not an investment professional. Don't sue me. I might have no idea what I'm talking about. I might have an idea what I'm talking about, but I might not too. Don't copy me. But the reason I'm buying Intel is this, okay? Number one, they're down massively over the last 6 months. They are down a lot. If you look at a yearly chart for Intel, again, they are down a lot. Number two, their chips, and specifically their processors, you know, are still widely used. Widely used. So their processors, their CPU market is still very much full steam ahead. If you go buy a computer from anywhere, you know, 70% of computers are going to have Intel processors. 70%, right? So they're still widely used in that regard. Number three, even with the current headwinds of EPS, they still have a pretty low PE ratio of 30. Is it a perfect PE ratio? No. Down massive percentages, still dominating the CPU market. Number three, they still have a relatively low price to earnings ratio. How much they make versus what their share price is right now, especially, is very good. It's not very good. It's good. And so I don't mind buying it up with small risk. And if I lose a couple $100, it's not the end of the world. We'll see what happens. I'm up thousands on the year. I've got the profit to cushion to deal with this. So, anyways. BT, Lolo. We buying or selling gold? Where's gold at? Yeah, guys, listen. I just spent like $30 on those memberships for you all. And I don't even need them. Like, you know. You're welcome, chat. You're welcome. It should let me give some free ones, but it's okay. Its PE is being destroyed by declining revenues. Yeah. Looking at... Let's take a look. So here's their revenue graph for Intel. And maybe I'm wrong. Definitely declining revenues for sure. Growth definitely, but the last 2 quarters were better. And even still, I still think this is a decent enough long-term chart. You know, here's 2 years, 3 years, looks pretty rough revenue-wise, 5 years. But long-term, they're still pretty solid, you know. So I guess my point is I'm optimistic. When did their earnings drop? Was it yesterday? We did have Exxon, guys. We got Chevron numbers, 214 EPS versus 201 expected for Exxon. So again, Exxon did report. I'm gonna put those numbers up in chat too. But yeah, revenue does look down. But again, it's honestly for me, it's a small risk. 30 shares, pretty small risk. Dangerous trade could get chopped in half, but you know your risk reward. Yeah, I mean, like I said though, I'm not. This isn't a trade in which I'm super worried about though, guys. Like you gotta understand. Again, I'm up thousands on the year. My max risk in this trade is a couple $100. You know, I could take the risk. And again, my plan is just to hold it longer term. I think we've dropped enough to justify potentially a short-term trade here. And maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. You can buy AMD. AMD's got a PE ratio of like 50 plus right now. Yeah, 50 plus for AMD. That's my only problem with it. I'm not against it. I'm in MU. I'm in NVIDIA. I'm in a bunch of microchip stocks. Just the big problem with AMD is yeah. What about Apple, guys? So Apple had their earnings yesterday. They're pretty much flat. You know, Apple somehow is a light of green in this really red entranced market. We'll see, but Apple's still holding the market up a little bit, so we'll see if that continues. What other blue chip stocks? A lot of big earnings dropped yesterday. Again, I'm genuinely disappointed in how they did earnings yesterday. I hate it. I absolutely hate it where they have all these crazy big earnings reports on the same freaking day. It makes absolutely no sense. It causes big volatility where there doesn't need to be any. Yeah, the Ryzen CPUs are pretty good. I'll give them that. But yeah. All right, guys, we got an hour and 11 minutes, chat. An hour and 11 minutes. Amazon might be worth a buy. I got to see what the PE ratio is right now for it. Let me take a look. All right, so again, if we look at Amazon, let's calculate it myself. I can look at, let me see how accurate AI is, right? So here, I'm going to look up AI. And again, this is how I use AI. Like, let's scroll down. What is Amazon's PE ratio? And then I'm going to calculate it myself. We're going to see the differences. $51.50s is what they said Amazon's PE ratio is. $51.50s. Now I just want Amazon details. I don't want Apple, I want Amazon. There it is, Amazon. All right, so looking at their numbers here, let's calculate this. All right, Amazon yesterday, guys, their PE ratio should be a lot better, to be honest. So look, I'll think about buying Amazon right now too. All right, guys. So again, their last EPS ratio was 126. So this should improve their EPS. This was their highest quarterly revenue in years. This is their highest quarterly EPS ever. So 126 plus $1 plus 98 cents plus 94 cents is their quarterly. Oops, wait. Is their yearly EPS is about 418. Amazon price currently what, chat? Amazon price is currently 168. I think this is going to be, and so Amazon 418. So Amazon has a much better PE ratio right now, guys. It's 40. I might buy this dip in Amazon. 40 is not a really good PE ratio, but it's Amazon, guys. It's Amazon, you know? Amazon is obviously going to be healthy long term.
Let me look at the range. You know, this massive drop had about a 10% range. We can't take large size, that's for sure. Okay, started off small. We'll get into a little piece, little baby piece here. Q still testing the 200 EMA and volume weighted average price. Again, guys, why do you think I'm buying stuff up? Because blood's running in the streets right now, I think. You know, I haven't been buying up a lot of stuff, guys. So, like, one thing that I think I do well is I'm very disciplined in terms of when I start buying up blue chip stocks, right? When I start buying up stocks, it's not when stocks are at a mania, when they're breaking highs and everybody's talking about them and everybody's interested in all this different stuff. Usually I'm buying stuff up in periods like now when things are down a lot. It's my favorite time to buy stuff. What is the non-farm prediction? Earnings schedules. Something to keep in mind, Amazon may seem like a big discount right now, but it first hit 170 in February. It could drop way further. Right, that's why you see me taking very small size. I took very small size. Can you explain what PE ratio is? Yeah, so, hey, also, guys, quick question. Do you guys prefer A or B? Okay, this is A right now. This is the screen of A or B right here. A or B. B gives you more looks at charts. A gives you a bigger look at me and like a more zoomed out view of the charts I'm looking at. So again, A, B. Which one? Chat, which one do you guys? B? Okay, so you guys like this one more. I like this one more too. B is almost universally what people want. So good. Payroll numbers today, guys. A massive, massive report. Massive, massive report. We're going to stick with B then. I want to look at the hot guy. Care less for your face. Alyssa, that's a dagger to my heart right here. You know, that hurts. You know, that hurts. How could you say that to me? What do you think of higher or lower non-farm payroll data? Honestly, I think the market needs higher payroll data right now. I think if inflation continues to look good, I think we want economic strength, not weakness, right? And so I think higher payroll data will be positive, negative, or lower payroll data will be negative and worse, right? So I think it needs to be positive. I think that's what the market's going to react positively to. Yeah. BT is not working for copy trading. What do you mean copy trading? Yeah, I don't know about copy trading, Lolo. I'm not sure. I'm not really a copy trader. You know. Yeah, I don't think you could use my coupon code for some type of copy trader. Yeah, I think it needs positive payroll numbers. I think we want optimistic economic reports. So I think we want higher than 185. 185 is what's expected. Last time, that's a decrease relative to last time too. Last time we showed up at 206. Today they're expecting 185s, right? And so I think we need lesser data. Do you consider yourself a trader or investor? Why do I have to be one or the other? I think that's silly. I'm both. I'm both a trader and an investor. I don't have to... yeah, I don't have to pick one or the other, brother. I'm both. I definitely like looking at economics a lot. But I also day trade a lot at the opening bell. So yeah, I mean, so Stock Magician is upset over here. He says, man, I don't get it. Why do you start streaming so early? Because we got 500 people here in less than an hour, brother. You know, like if people want to watch me early, that's what we're going to do. We're going to stream early. You know, a lot of people actually say they watch my stream specifically because I start early. I'm earlier than everybody else, and so even if they go watch somebody else at the open, they're still sticking around and watching my stream beforehand, you know. And so we're kind of the early show in the stock market, you know. And I think it's helped grow my community a lot, you know. So yeah, he says, I don't get it. Why do you start streaming so early so that you don't even stay half an hour past market open? Honestly, because I get most of my day trading done within 30 minutes. You know, I'm being true to myself, right? Like, look, honestly, I try to be as honest as I can to everybody, right? How am I honest? I tell people I don't need to get funded in these funded account programs. I love like using them. I think they're powerful for people who don't have the buying power that I have. I don't need to get funded. I'm not going to pretend like I need funding for anything, right? I'm just going to be honest with people. Now I'll put like, I have sponsors and, you know, stuff like that, but I don't need to get funded, you know? And so most of the time I'm trading my actual account right here. You know, most of the time that's what you see me playing with. That's what you see me day trading or swing trading or investing in, is my actual account, which has, you know, 400K in buying power, right? So I don't need to get funded. And again, I'm trading true to myself. Like, I don't ever trade after 10 a.m. almost ever. You know, not unless the market is highly volatile and we got some crazy stuff going on. But you also have to understand, like, if you go back and you look at all my streams, right? Go back and look at how much I've streamed this past week, right? Like, I have streamed 7 hours a day, every day, almost every day, right? Some days, like Wednesday, I streamed for like 8 or 9 hours. And so, yeah, like, we're trying to have some type of life outside of streaming. And I appreciate the donation. Thank you so much, Jeffrey. Regarding payroll, is inflation or recession more of a worry? I would say right now, payroll data needs to be higher than expected in this current market period. I think more economic strength is better right now, with inflation a little bit more manageable and the Fed going to cut rates. I think we need better than expected payroll data, higher than expected payroll data. Yeah, thanks. Honest, if you were honest, you would be telling everybody to exit longs and go short. I mean, I know you're just trolling, and that's okay, I guess. As long as you're engaging with the community, you know, cheers to you. As long as you're not too toxic, you'll get banned forever. But back to the point. If I'm honest, I'm going to tell people I have no idea what they should do. I'm certainly not going to scream sell. Lexi, you know, you just started watching the streams, I'm assuming, unless you're a troll in another account. What I'll tell you is this, though. Every single, every single correction we've had in the markets over the last 4, 5, 6 years since I've been live streaming, every single correction in which we've dropped over 2% in any particular day, 3% on any particular day, 4% on any particular day, anytime we've dropped any type of decent, like, red day percentage, people have come out the woodworks screaming 3 things. They scream, it's the end of the world, the sky is falling, the world's ending. That's the first thing. The second thing they'll say is, a recession is here, you know, run for the hills, we're about to enter a recession. John, you're dumb if you don't think we're about to hit a recession. That's number 2. Number 3 is they say an imminent stock market crash is about to happen. Now, I'll give you, this current market seems a little bit more likely that we're going to have some big volatility in markets. I'll give anybody that, right? Recession fears are also here, you know? So, like, there's risks in this current market. Again, there's a reason. One of the things that I said over and over again is that if we do crash, it's going to be from what? It's going to be from NVIDIA falling down to $90, $100 a share, $90 a share, and that dragging the rest of the market down. What has happened over the past couple days? NVIDIA is down to $105 a share. The NASDAQ, the SPY are correcting, you know. But again, going back to the original point, everybody said this for years and years and years. People told me this here, guys. So look, here's the cue. People told me right here that the market was about to crash and burn right here, you know. And again, they acted exactly the same. They said, oh, the market's going to crash. You're dumb. If you don't sell now. Get out now. And that's what they would always say. And then in hindsight, we ended up doing one of the biggest bull markets that we've had in years. Market did 24% in 2023. And everybody that was pressuring everybody to sell, crickets, silence. Never hear from them again. They're gone. We've never seen them again. You know, they feel too bad about being wildly wrong and probably influencing people, so you never see them again. And so what I try to do is, again, I'm honest. And so how am I honest? I tell people I don't freaking know what's going to happen. I have no idea if the market goes up, down, or sideways. No idea. And that's the truth, right? And I don't think anybody else is being honest with you guys. Everybody else wants to make some big, bold prediction. I'd rather just tell people I don't know, because I've seen a lot of really plausible crash predictors, and then they're wildly wrong. And I've seen a lot of people who think we're going to hit a recession, and they've been wildly wrong. You know, even though I sometimes agree with some of the risks that are there, but you got to look at probabilities. Like, nothing's 100% in markets, especially the stock market. That's the first thing. That's stock market 101. Nothing's predictable in that way, right? Nothing's 100% definitively going to happen. We can only make predictions based off of probabilities and risk. And so right now, again, the Q is here. I get now's another one of those periods where everybody says it's the end of the world, doom and gloom reigns supreme, and everybody's scared and telling people to sell and blah, 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 blah. And maybe they're right. You know, again, I'm not even saying they're wrong. I have no idea. You know, again, I've told people before, if the market crashes, it's going to be from NVIDIA here. NVIDIA is going to be the reason the market tanks. Why is NVIDIA going to be the reason? Because NVIDIA is what the market has been following for years. The market's been following it for years and years and years, right? So not years and years, for a couple years. And so if NVIDIA drops down to $90, $85, you know, $100 and maintains down there, a couple things are going to happen. Blue chip stocks like Apple, Amazon, Meta, all these other ones are going to probably follow that negative trend down, right? The NASDAQ in turn will probably follow that negative trend down. But to be honest, if we put up a weekly chart, it doesn't look like the end of the world stock scenario to me. It seems like we're right at the bottom of this trend line. And we're also in the middle of summer. And so during the fall months when volume, generally speaking, like here's another little mini correction, here's another little mini one. During the fall months, volume picks up. The most busy parts of the month, but the busiest parts of the year are during the fall months. Like the busiest parts are like October, November, December, January are the 4 busiest months in the stock market, right? So we're still leading into there. Right now, we're in the slowest period of time. August is historically one of the worst months for stocks. It might be August. Is it August or September, chat? Anyways, it's all good to predict whatever you want to predict. It really is. I'm not against you as long as you're respectful, which let me scroll back to chat. Doesn't matter. No one does it like you the best. I can speak for myself. I'm locked in on your channel. I'm locked in. Hey, thank you. I'm him. I appreciate it, brother. Thanks, sir. Can you break down the differences between day trading pre-market versus market open? I would go with market open. Okay, so this is a really good question, Snow. Snow says, can you, here, I'll come right back to this. So give me a second, Snow. I got you, bro. Mark says, John is the most honest guy on YouTube. Maybe, you know, I don't freaking know, man. Definitely not the most honest guy on YouTube, but I try to be real. I'm biased. I'm doing this because I get paid to do it. Y'all would, if y'all were getting paid to do it, y'all would do it too, to be honest. And so we try. Yeah, so John, you don't have to explain your stream is early and the best info out there. If you say that every day, one day it will happen. Sure, if you keep throwing darts at a dartboard here, you know, if you keep throwing darts at a dartboard, eventually, look at my darts here. Do y'all like my darts? If you keep throwing darts at a dartboard, you know, eventually you're gonna hit it. And whether that means a recession, I don't know. But if you keep throwing darts at a dartboard, eventually we're gonna hit a recession, right? We hit a recession roughly every 15 years. And so depending on whether you call the 2022 one a recession or not is gonna depend on when you think the next one's coming. But John, top 3 most honest YouTubers. I would go with top 2.5 personally. I think I've leveled up to top 2.5. The only reason why there's no crash is because the money printing government is helping. They can't let it crash like 2008 or 2000, especially when they were fighting. Yeah, 100%. I mean, look, the reason we're not in a recession right now is because of QE, quantitative easing, and money printing. If you look back at the economic landscape, hold on, I got a lot of questions I get to, but yes, that's true. I'm going to get back to it. We already crashed. I don't get it why people say if we do crash. So what do you consider a crash, YZ? Because I don't consider a 8-9% drop a crash. A crash is generally speaking 20+% short term. We've dropped what, 8% in most index funds. So definitely not a crash. Correction, sure, not a crash. I'm trying to catch back up on the chat. chat's moving quickly. We got over we have 600 people here live right now. So, anyways, yeah. So, okay, going back to the point. Somebody said, what's the differences between day trading and pre-market versus day trading at market open? There's a couple of really obvious differences. Okay, the main difference is like, and again, if you see me, I kind of have some better results a lot of the time day trading small after the opening bell. A couple of different reasons. The liquidity is wildly different in pre-market here versus like at the market open. If I pull up the queue in both landscapes of market, you'll see after the opening bell, much more volatile price action. And so what it is pre-market, I'm attacking ranges, right? I'm trying to identify, a lot of the time I'll look for like a choppy range, and then I'll buy the bottom and I'll look for a rebound back up and I'll try to cover around the top. Sometimes I'll short the top and then ride it down to the bottom and then buy it and then ride it back up to the top, right? So pre-market is much less liquid market, much more range-bound trend trading. So again, pre-market is much more trend trading based, much more range-bound trading based, a lot less liquidity, less momentum, less excitement, and more just kind of points, right? I'm looking at different points to buy or sell. After the opening bell, like right here, is just much different. It's much more momentum based. It's much more like breakout, like range breakout based. Big dips, rejections, like up wicks and down wicks are a lot of the time what I'm looking at. Like I'm looking at up wicks and down wicks a lot. I'm looking at major previous support, but ultimate momentum like coming back down. Like there's a lot more stuff that, and again, I generally have better results. I do trade in pre-market a lot, but I usually have better results after the opening bell. As long as it's a couple minutes after the open. If it's like 3 minutes, 2 minutes after the open, it's a coin flip whether I'll make money or not. Anyways, only top 3 most honest. I would go with top 2.5 personally. August historically a bad month. Yeah, I know August, July, September usually not good months for the market. Hey, what's up, TK? 33% in NVIDIA is not a crash. I mean, yes, 33% down is pretty significant, sure. Right, I don't think it's 33% though, let me see. So NVIDIA dropped from about 120 down to 105. That's a 12.5% drop. Even if we look at the highs, that's a 25% drop, right? So NVIDIA is not down 30+%. It's down 25% from its highs. But if we're looking at what we should be looking at, which is NVIDIA, where has NVIDIA gone short term, which is like the last couple weeks, and it's gone from about 125 down to 105s, right? So even that is about a 16% drop. But again, we're not just looking at NVIDIA. Stocks are going to make big corrections and big pullbacks. When we say crash, guys, like market crash, we're referring to the market, brother, not just NVIDIA. We're referring to the broad markets. We're referring to index funds mostly. So there's the big 3 that you want to look at: the Dow, the NASDAQ, and the S&P 500. I like to look at the SPY and the Q to gauge this because that's the easiest way. But, if we look at the SPY and Q, again, from the highs that we were putting in, number 1, the trend is clear. Number 2, the SPY specifically is down from 503 down to 460 roughly right now. And so the SPY is only down about 8.5%. So just not crash, like I said, about 9%. Not the end of the world crash scenario. Even if we look at the Q, which is down more than that. Or no, that's the Q, I'm sorry. So the Q is down about 8.5%. The SPY, I think, is probably down less than this. Right, so the SPY is down from 465 or 565s to 540s. So SPY is at the SPY dropped a maximum of 4.5%. So SPY's not down that much. NASDAQ, tech heavy, is more tech heavy. It's down for sure. But, yeah, we're not in a crash yet. Hey, thank you, Jeffrey. Thoughts on where Tesla is going from here? I believe in Tesla long term, but short term, I think there's lots of risks. I think they pushed the Robotaxi event back to August. Or back to October. It was supposed to be this month. It's now in October. And so I think that, I think Elon, if he stays in front of full self-driving, will be fine with Tesla. If the risks with Elon are simple. I believe in Tesla. I believe in full self-driving. I think in 15 years we're gonna have FSD and people are gonna have cars driven completely by themselves. Robotaxis are gonna take over, and I think that's gonna be the future of driving in general. And it could be 20 years, it could be 2 years, but I think that's the future of driving, and that's going to take time to build the infrastructure, but I think that's the future, and I think right now Elon's on the very front of that, and so if he's smart and he maintains it, then he can make so much money, and Tesla could be wildly successful moving forward, more so than it already has been. I try to look at both sides. The risks are that Elon is really outspoken politically, too outspoken in my opinion. I think if you're selling things to consumers, if you're selling things to the world, you know, like you have to be neutral if you're selling things. If you're not, and maybe in some ways it's going to benefit him because maybe people are going to be more supportive of him on one side, but less supportive on the other. And I think that's, if you're selling things to consumers, it's a bad look. It's a bad move. But again, I don't know. We'll see. You know, and I also think he overpromises and underdelivers sometimes. But I like Tesla. I'm in Tesla. I like Tesla. Again, the real risks are Elon being politically outspoken. Number two is, like, when the Cybertruck was first coming to Steam, Elon told us that it would be out at like X date, and then X date would hit, and then you wouldn't hear anything else about it, and then he would push it back again, and then you'd wait for that date, and then that would happen, and then he'd push it back again, right? So sometimes he under-delivers in terms of schedule, but again, if they can build the infrastructure for these things, I think they're the future. All right, catch you back up with the chat since it's moving very quickly today. Does John Forex trade? Sometimes. We'll trade like gold and stuff sometimes. But Horse and Buggy gonna make a comeback. Yeah. Uber will pivot. I think Uber needs to pivot too, but I think Uber has a lot of potential as a company, you know. Jay, I don't think listen, I'm trying to respond as much as I can, but we got so many people talking in chat today. Like I said, we got 630 people here already. So it's we're doing our best to catch up with everybody's chat, but we're not going to be able to answer all of them. We got too many people here talking. Sorry, guys. Do you guys think the market wants more or less payroll data? Yeah, all good, Snow. Someone in here said 33% is a crash. I mean, 33% is a massive crash, to be honest. Okay. But, well, highs, so YZ said no dude, it was 150. Yeah, but you're looking at pre-market highs, which don't really count. Not in terms of long-term price action, usually. On long-term charts, they don't ever look at highs that happen in extended hours trading because of the lack of liquidity in those hours. They only look at market hours most of the time, and in that regard, the highs of NVIDIA are about 140, you know. Still, like, again, I think NVIDIA's had a massive crash over the last week or two, right? But the market hasn't. The market's corrected a lot from it, though. Rosenblatt, adjust price target on Apple. All right, so Apple, somebody saying big news on Apple happening right now. And again, a lot of stuff that happened was, a lot of stuff dropped today was oil earnings. All right, so Apple had Rosenblatt adjust price target, according to somebody. Yeah, so it looks like they got their like, so the last couple weeks, there's been definitely weird glitches in terms of viewership for, on this platform right now. It looks like they fixed it, which is great, you know. Again, it's really weird. I think, you know, it's been like that for a couple weeks, but it looks like they're finally fixed it. I knew we had, like, I could always look at the votes on the poll, and sometimes we would most of the time, like, over the past few weeks, have more votes than it showed viewers here, which meant that we had more viewers there than they're saying, you know. So that's nice to see. So, like, even right now, We've got 667, 680 votes. We only got 640 people here. But yeah, that makes more sense. Are you gonna load up more NVIDIA at $90? If it drops to 90, probably. Euro US dollar? Yeah, I don't know what Euro US dollar is gonna do. We'll see. All right, guys, we got 45 minutes left. 45 minutes left. Whew. All right. This is a huge report. Non-farm payrolls is massive today. The market, this is gonna make or break the market right now, chat. Genuinely gonna make or break the market. It's super, super important. You know, when please don't spam gold. Yep, gold spammers are back. Yeah, why are you gonna say the same thing like 20 times, bro? Please stop. Okay, good day to you, sir. Like, he has to know that saying everything like 20 times is not the right move, right? Tell me how to feel about that. So at jiu-jitsu yesterday, right? You know, I have this training buddy in jiu-jitsu yesterday, and said training buddy, like when he first started, he was just completely like a white belt, and I'm a white belt, but I've been training for like a much longer period of time. White belts, you have to be a white belt for 2 or 3 years in jiu-jitsu before you get your first belt, right? So it's different. So like a white belt in jiu-jitsu is much different than a white belt in like karate, you know? Anyways, back to the point. I have this training buddy, and I've been helping him get better. Like, he always wants to roll with me, kind of because like he saw us play Shark Tank one day, I think, and like he saw me basically like really like do well in this game of Shark Tank, where it was takedowns, right? So even like the coach had trouble taking me down. And I took the coach down, and then I took the next person down, and then I took the next person down, which is how Shark Tank goes. Like, if you win, it's kind of like King of the Hill. Anyways, ever since then, he's wanted to train with me. And, like, for the past, like, 3 months, you know, I've tapped him out, like, 30-plus times. You know, and he's never tapped me out. He had never tapped me out. Yesterday, when we were rolling, he finally caught me. It was really slick, too. He got me in a triangle choke when I tried to stack him and kind of sit back to get out of the triangle choke. He transitioned to an arm bar and caught me. And it was tight. I tapped too late. My arm freaking hurts today. Like, my arm actually hurts today. Ugh. But he was super excited. He celebrated, and then coach actually gave him a stripe for it. So it was a cool moment to see, like, the guy that I've helped get better got his first stripe, actually did well. Actually caught me too. It's not like I was going easy on him either. So top 3 white belts in the world right now. No, I'm talking about jiu-jitsu people know what Shark Tank is. Anyways, I don't know what's up with people in gold. It's like watching pay dry. I don't know. Gold is the single best inflation hedge outside of maybe Bitcoin, although a lot of people are not going to like that answer. Gold broke lifetime highs this morning, though, guys. So the reason a lot of people talking about gold is because gold is over $2,500 an ounce. Broke lifetime highs. Yeah, so gold's breaking lifetime highs in this economic landscape of fear, is what this is. So. You broke the golden rule. What? Don't tap your. Yeah. Nah, he's a good guy, man. He's a good kid. Non-farm can move the markets. Yeah, it's a crazy day today, guys. It really is. With interest rates coming down, would it be wise to start shorting bank stocks? No. That's the opposite, Swab. Think about it like this, brother. Do banks want a high or low interest rate environment? Like, what do you think banks want? Right? Banks want low interest rates, dude. I'm telling you, they want low interest rates. Why? Because they get way more business. Like, I've known tons of people that have worked at banking, mortgages, lending. They want a low interest rate environment. People in lending made like 10x what they normally made back in, people in lending made like 10x what they normally made in 2021. Right? Why? Because we had such a low interest rate environment. You know, the interest rates were, because of the economic stimulus, the quantitative easing, the rate cuts, and the stimulus checks. Everybody wanted to buy a home and get lending. You know, everybody wanted free or cheaper access to money at 2.5%. You know, and again, lenders want that specifically, but the problem that we're currently in is because of too much spending has occurred. Like, spending is spiked. You know, inflation went up to 10%. Prices are not sustainable, you know. And so it's really funny because you'll get people be like, yeah, we need rate cuts. We need rate cuts. But then when I ask them why we need rate cuts, they'll reference like high prices. They'll be like, oh, bro, haven't you seen the prices? And it's like, yeah, I have seen the prices. Cutting rates will make the prices higher, not lower. So we should not cut rates. Again, it depends. The only reason we should cut rates is if unemployment's close to 4.5%. And if unemployment spikes, if payroll numbers are weak, and we see consistent negative trends in the economy, then maybe we can cut rates. You know, then I'm okay with it. But if we don't see those things, I don't want to cut rates because that'll make inflation worse. We definitely should stay the course with, like, right now, I'm pretty sure the Fed is still in a period of quantitative tightening, which they're in a tightening cycle. If you don't know the difference, a loose monetary policy, a dovish monetary policy, means that the Fed wants to bring interest rates down, stimulate the economy, because when interest rates are less, like if you're paying less money in a mortgage or in auto loans, you're going to have more money to spend on other stuff. You know, so you're gonna want more access to lending, and all that money flowing through the economy stimulates it in that regard, and ultimately can help save it from like recessions and depressions. If the Fed steps in and does QE, or money printing, which is QE is a form of it in which they create bank reserves and then they use that money to buy up financial assets. And this injects liquidity into the bond markets and allows banks to keep interest rates low, stimulates spending in that regard as well. It's kind of like a more desperate move. Like, the Fed can cut rates if they want, but if they want a faster way to bring interest rates down, they'll do QE, right? And that is what spikes inflation. Right now, the Fed is in a tightening cycle, which is kind of the opposite of QE, in which the Fed is reducing their balance sheet, like taking liquidity away from those markets, and the response by banks is to raise interest rates to consumers, right? It's not always a perfect science. And so we're still in that period now. I don't know how long that's going to last either. And again, what I heard from Jerome Powell on Wednesday, Powell spoke Wednesday. One thing that was increasingly clear to me is that I'm pretty sure Powell's going to cut rates in September. Next month, Powell's probably cutting rates, with the only exception of if inflation, like if PCE spikes to 3.5%, if CPI spikes to 4% plus, then that's a different story. And I think that'll be more of an argument for no rate cut. But for what it sounded like to me, unless we get those massive inflation spikes, Powell's going to cut in September. You know, the Fed's going to cut. What do you guys think? Do you think that's a good idea if the Fed cuts? We need rate cuts. Don't listen to this guy. Maybe. You know, again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we do. I don't know. But again, don't just yell, we don't need rate cuts. Give me an argument. Because again, I ask people, I say, hey, why do you think we need to cut rates? And I don't really hear much from it. Like, most of the time, people just say, prices are high, bro. People are unhappy. And it's like, yeah, prices are high. People are unhappy. If we cut rates too much, prices are going to spike up again. And when it snowballs and gets worse inflation-wise, people are really going to be unhappy. And so I think we should be restrictive, personally. But it's just my own personal preference here. I think prices have gone up way too much in 5 years. They're not really going to go back down unless we hit a deep recession or depression. And so we shouldn't cut rates just to, like, right now interest rates are 5.5%. That's not objectively, like, super high relative to the last 40 years. 5.5% is not super high. In the 80s, they were 20%. And so acting like 5.5%, some type of like crazy, obscenely high interest rate, is not true. It's just not accurate. Like, you know, I would say what's obscenely high interest rate wise would be like right now, like 7, 8, 9%. Yeah, we definitely need to stop printing. Like, QE needs to stop. We shouldn't do QE. But again, I'm telling you this, if we enter some type of deep recession or depression, the Fed is going to do QE, right? And then we're going to be back to the same cycle as always, in which, like, we're stuck. We've got too much stuff, you know. Yeah, if we just do one rate cut, I'm okay with it, right? But it needs to just be one. I don't want to do multiple. Is it true what Powell says? If they cut early, it's no problem since they have the tools to fix it, unlike cutting too late, which is worse. I mean, I don't know, man. I think you got to think of it like this. Inflation goes like this, chat. So inflation goes like this. Right? So this is inflation and what it looks like. Right? What are the signs? It doesn't go down. This does not happen. Like, a decrease in inflation doesn't happen. Okay? The best we can hope for is to slow it down. So the best we can hope for is for the graph to look like this. You know, to keep it flat. Because it's not going down unless, the only way it's going to literally go down is if we hit a deep recession or depression. If we look at a CPI inflation graph, you know, or even like a Fed funds graph. Here's CPI inflation over a 12-month period of time. Right? Again, one thing that you see is that it's not really going down. It's gone down one time in the last 25 years. Once. It's gone down once in 25 years. And so the best we can do is to slow it down. When we talk about inflation going down, we're talking about it slowing down. So if we can decrease the rise of inflation to 2%, only 2% on the year, which means prices only go up 2% for everybody, then we're in a good spot, right? The problem is that with that in mind, right, prices don't go down. I don't know. Like, the Fed has some tools, like they can print more money if we go into a recession or depression. That's going to make inflation worse. I think if inflation starts to spike, people are really going to be unhappy. I think what's something that's pretty true is Powell doesn't want to crash under his watch, right? As he shouldn't. I think Powell doesn't want to crash. And I think it's an election year, and so they definitely don't want one. But again, we'll see if we hit one or not. Do you guys think we hit a crash or recession? Jeffrey says, do you think payroll data leaked? If we get good payroll data on unemployment, I think the market will give a collective exhale of relief. I think so. Like, I think the market's back to good is good, bad is bad scenario in which the market wants positive economic data, like economic growth, like more optimism in that regard. You know, I think something that's happening, though, is like people see the stock market falling. And they somehow think that this means we're in a recession. And it doesn't. The stock market and the economy are two completely different animals. Right now, unemployment's still at 4.1%, relatively low. Payroll numbers are still pretty good. The JOLTS report was okay. And so none of that stuff really signals like economic recession, you know. And so what we're really seeing is a stock market dump. And that's from AI corrections, right? That doesn't really have much to do with the economy. Even though people who are preaching economic stuff want to say that this somehow signals a recession, which it doesn't. We're just in a rough time right now, stock-wise, because of AI pullbacks. But again, if inflation comes in low, that's great. But if unemployment starts to spike up more, right? So I would say, what are the bad signs from this report that we get in 30 minutes? The bad signs are, A, if unemployment is higher than 4.2%. Higher than 4.2% is bad. It's not good. It's not something that's going to look good. It's going to look weak for the economy. Number two, if payroll numbers are super low on top of that, that's not a good look for the economy either. And so I think we're in a period now where today's data, like as you see, we got almost 900 people here 30 minutes before this report. People are interested in this report, and they should be, because this is a ridiculously important report right now. This report is going to tell us whether we're trending towards a recession or whether we should focus on maintaining a high interest rate environment. What I heard Powell say on Wednesday, he sounded hawkish to me, with the expectation of a cut, right? He said, hey, we'll probably cut in September, but the economy has looked better. We got to make sure inflation is under control, and we don't mind being restrictive, is what he said. But then he also said that they'd probably cut rates unless inflation spiked up over the next month or two. So Respectfully, I disagree. What do you disagree about? And it's all good if you disagree, as long as you're respectful. It's all love here. It really is. Like, CWC and I have disagreements, like, a lot. But, you know, again, he's respectful about it. They're good conversations. I think these are important conversations. And, again, it's super subjective. Everybody's just trying to say what they think. And so it's all good as long as you don't get mad at me if I disagree. The problem, I'll say one of the big problems, to be honest, is, like, political bias. Like, people watch the news. And during election years, I say this every day, but it's important for people to hear. Right? Like, if you're one of those people that get really mad at me, it's important for you to hear this, okay? During election years, they're pulling people on both sides, right? The side in power wants people to think it's the greatest it's ever been. And the side that wants to gain power wants to make you think it's the worst it's ever been, right? And the truth is usually somewhere in the middle. But there's a lot of different, like, stuff coming out from both sides. And so during election years, number one, historically, you get green action on the stock market. Number two is you get a lot of really hyper emotional people that are parroting what they hear on the news, which again is super polarized. Like, oh, it's the greatest it's ever been. No, it's the worst it's ever been, right? The truth is somewhere in the middle. And so I think people parrot that back to me. And if I disagree with that, they think I'm attacking. A lot of people base who they are around politics. And so they think I'm attacking them when really I'm pretty neutral in all this stuff, guys. Like, I'm really neutral and I might be wrong. You know, like, it's all good. If you can respectfully disagree with me, I appreciate it, and I'm not gonna, like, be mad at you. You know, I might disagree, and I might try to prove you wrong, but again, maybe y'all are right. I don't know. What's up, Daphne? Policy's biggest risk: deteriorating economic conditions. No longer inflation. Probably means more bad economic data. Maybe. Yeah. What do you think about my CBDC stance? I think that, you know, I think Powell understands the crypto market has come down a little bit and they're just less focused on it right now is what I think. You said the market was healthy yesterday? When? I agree with disrespectfully. It's all good. Yeah, so non-farm payroll data's come out. I agree with you, John. Hey, thank you. Yeah, this report's important. I disagree with your disagreement. Top 3 disagreeers in the world right now. Right, for sure, Todd. 100%, man. Like, again, but people base who they are around it. So they're like, oh, if I disagree with that, I'm attacking who they are. And again, I'm not. I'm very neutral. Like, listen, if I go by policy, and I'm very neutral, you know? Like, I'm very neutral. Gold is the only safe way. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and again, I want people to understand this, though, okay? So, like, the movie The Big Short comes out, and for the past 10 years since that movie came out, everybody wants to be the next big market predictor of crashes, right? They want to be the contrarian that knew it when everybody else didn't, or blah, 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 right? And I've heard people, there's been a lot of corrections over the last 5-10 years, you know, that we've covered here. There's been a lot of corrections. If I pull up the SPY, like, look, people in this moment said that we were destined for a major crash right here. People said we'd get a larger crash here, right? Now we're here with this little bubble here, this little guy, and people are saying we're going to crash again. I'm not saying we don't, chat. Again, I'm not here to tell you we don't. I'm here to tell you, take it with a grain of salt. Like, nobody freaking knows, and crashes are wildly overpredicted. Wildly overpredicted. Everybody and their grandma predicts a crash twice a year. Okay, it doesn't mean we're going to do it, and maybe we do. Again, I told you guys before, the likelihood of a crash, and this is something that if you've been watching my stream, I say this over and over again. The biggest chance that we get a crash is if NVIDIA continues to fall down. NVIDIA's up a lot. If it starts to correct, it might drag the rest of the market down. At this point, I would say if NVIDIA corrects down to 80, it might crash the SPY in the S&P, in the NASDAQ, you know. Now, NVIDIA, you could say, has already crashed. But again, this little bubble right here is what we currently are facing right now. And I think if you zoom out of all of this stuff, you know, this little guy, I don't think is a cause for worry yet, you know, yet. And again, we'll see what payroll data shows. A lot of stuff dropping, so we'll see. But what would be the basis of NVIDIA pulling back? I think NVIDIA is up hundreds of percent over the last few years, hundreds of percent. And so I think like an example of it is like this. Okay, NVIDIA really is like benefiting from the biggest gain in technology in decades. You know, so like AI really is that next big thing that's crazy useful, will completely change the world in terms of production. Like you can produce, query so much more things now with AI than you ever could before, right? And people don't understand the capabilities of this stuff. Like as a programmer, it's wildly different landscape in the future of like software based. Like anybody can produce their own software now. Anybody can produce their own algorithms now. Anybody can produce codes very simply, very easily. We're gonna have an exponential increase in production over the next 10 years from AI, right? But even though the technology is justifiable, it doesn't mean that we're not gonna crash from it. You know, and why am I saying this? I'm saying this because in 2000, the internet had first taken off, right? It was called the dot-com boom. So from 95 to 2000, the internet increased things crazy big, right? Like internet stock valuations flew through the roof. You had Netscape, you had Amazon, you had all these big internet.com companies. When the bubble burst from the dot-com boom in 2000, we had one of the longest bear markets over the last 50 years, really. Like we've had one of the longest bear markets called the dot-com crash. And internet really was that next big technology. In hindsight, the internet's freaking massive. It's changed the world, you know? But it didn't stop us from going into one of the largest market crashes in bear markets that we've seen in a long time. So with all that said, right, with that in mind, I think we have to look at all of this stuff with that in mind, right? It doesn't mean it's going to happen. You guys know me. I'm bullish long term. I'm always buying stuff, holding stuff long term. I think buying dips is good. I think dollar cost averaging is good, especially blue chip healthy companies and index funds. But you got to pay attention to the risks as well. And that's the risks, right? If NVIDIA continues to correct, the market could correct. You know, the market could crash as well. And I'll be here to buy it up personally, but still. All right, guys. There's the SPY. Amazon. What 3 charts do you want up for payroll numbers? I say we're probably like, I think put it up like gold. Put it up gold, the Q, or we'll put the SPY up. Gold, the SPY, and then what? Like NVIDIA maybe. NVIDIA back up to 105s, almost 106s. The problem with NVIDIA is that it's hella volatile. Like it goes up huge percentages and down huge percentages. I'm in it right now too, but what about gold? Yeah, we watch gold. Gold's on the left right there. This is gold right here. It's at 2,500. Breaking lifetime highs. Gold's breaking lifetime highs as well, chat. Now, I get them from a bunch of different sources, Isaac. I'm not going to tell anybody specifically where I get them, but yeah, I get them from a lot of different people. Did unemployment claims. So yesterday was jobless claims, BB. So jobless claims, there's the weekly filing on how many people file for unemployment. Today is the unemployment rate for the quarter. You know, so big difference, right? So today, again, is actual unemployment rate. Yesterday was how many people filed for unemployment, right? Today is the actual rate, which is a much bigger release than jobless claims. Jobless claims drops weekly, so just in terms of like market interest and reaction, it's diluted a little bit because it drops every week, right? Unemployment drops once a month, and again, it is a very, very important report. All right, so this is the monthly unemployment rate. Sorry, not quarter. Monthly unemployment rate, just to clarify. And it drops in 20 minutes. Chat, 20 minutes. We already got about 1,000 people here live. Over 1,000. Where's CrowdStrike during all this stuff? CrowdStrike's down to 220s. The question is it time to buy the dip on CrowdStrike, right? I think you got to look at it as a company. CrowdStrike is down almost 50%. It's down like 45%, relative to its highs, which it hit highs. CrowdStrike hit highs. That is crazy, dude. CrowdStrike hit highs less than a month ago at 398.30s. It is currently at 220s, 212s. At some points, 217s. So, yeah. The only thing about CrowdStrike is that, does this make people lose so much confidence in them? Eventually, they're going to part ways with the big supporting companies. Like, that's the only problem and risk I have with all this stuff. It was $90 this year. At some point, it still got downside. CrowdStrike? No, CrowdStrike wasn't at under $90. It hasn't been at $90 for the last year and a half. A year and a half ago it was at $90, but that was actually kind of its low of the last 10 years. Yeah, it's a little risky. You know, CrowdStrike influenced a lot of stuff though. Again, I'm going to tell you guys this, right? Weeks ago, like I would say a month and a half ago, we had this weird glitch where viewership wasn't reflecting on YouTube, right? And we've seen it on the last, viewership hasn't been reflecting on YouTube at all. And so, the last couple weeks we've been starting the stream, and it would say we had less than 100 people there within 30 minutes, which was crazy to me. It seemed very, very light, very, very low. And it wasn't just me, this is everybody. Big networks lost 30-40%. And so everybody's sitting there what the heck's going on? It happened right after that stuff, you know. And it seems like today they finally got the algo back working again. Or I think I think people were still watching. I think the reflection of viewership was down. But again, now we got 1,100 people here 20 minutes before the report. And so it seems like they fixed it back today. It seems like they got their viewership counter working again, which is great news, honestly. You know. CrowdStrike? CrowdStrike was at 50 in 2020. Yeah, that's 4.5 years ago, brother. Half a decade ago, dude. I don't. If I said 10 years, I'm wrong. YouTube's not a private company. They're owned by Google. They're Alphabet company. Average PE ratio of the whole market is rich, around 25. Healthy is 13. Well, healthy is 15 to 20. But I'll agree, a lot of stocks are having really high PE ratios. You know, I would say that's changed over, the standard of PE ratios has changed over the last, I would give it the last 3 years is where I saw the big switch from low PEs to a little bit more acceptable high PE ratios. Yeah, no, for sure, Sass. It really did shut down the world, dude. It was crazy, honestly. It affected everybody and everything. Airlines, everything. So, you know. Again, it looks like they finally fixed it up today, though, to be honest. Again, I'm not buying CrowdStrike personally, so it's not please don't get mad at me if I'm talking about CrowdStrike, but it's just down. Anytime something's down 50%, I get my forks out. But I don't. Again, CrowdStrike's a hard buy to me as well, though. It's still the lack of confidence people are gonna have in them now is a little risky, I think. Yeah, hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you're fully caught up on stream chat. Gold, buy or sell NFT. What? What does that mean? Live streaming channel. Gold, buy or sell NFT. What? Airbnb is down? Is it really? Okay, all good, RJ. Yeah, I might have been wrong. I don't know. Well, I'm not saying there wasn't a bug. Yo, no, I actually tested that, Sam. So you can see the chat without voting on the poll. You just have to click the button and click close poll, and you can see it. So you can still see the chat without voting. But no, I see that as well. Rate cut priced in at 90%. Wonder how the market will take the jobs. Yeah, for sure. It'll be an interesting report today. A rate cut next month is almost certain at this point, unless inflation spikes. Again, if you listen to Powell Wednesday, Powell did say if inflation spikes, they're going to be less likely to cut. But again, the payroll numbers are going to be really, really interesting today. Like, this is a very, 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 very important payroll report, guys. This is incredibly important. Incredibly important. Apple has great earnings. Will be 240 if SPY wasn't. Yeah. Yeah. What do you guys think about AMC earnings after the bell today? So AMC earnings, you know, I'm not sure why they're making these decisions. I'm assuming there's got to be a reason for it, for them like making these decisions. AMC is doing their earnings call on a Friday afternoon. So Friday afternoon today is when AMC is releasing their earnings. Very strange, very interesting as well. But what do you guys think of that? So AMC streaming on Friday, their earnings call. It's a little odd. Earnings usually almost nobody releases earnings on Friday afternoon, and so it's odd. High PE, but not insanely high or irrational high. People are still fearful. Yeah, all good, Sam. Can I recommend your page for new traders? Yeah, I mean, you can if you want. I'm just here telling people I don't know what I'm doing, but yeah, recommend it if you want, bro. Yeah, the gold spammers are back. It looks like they filled their algorithms. I know you like Twisters, want to see it, but do you think it's worth going to IMAX for? Yeah, it's a pretty cool movie. I really like Twisters, Curtis. I thought it was one of the better movies I've seen in theaters over the last... You know, my last favorite two movies were Twisters and Dune 2. I like both of those, were pretty solid. But it's such subjective. Are we buying or selling gold? I'm holding gold long-term, Z. Prove to me you're not a bot, though, Z. You keep talking about gold. So, Z, are you a bot? Yes or no? If you're not a bot, just answer, just respond in comments. Can you give us an example of what you think the numbers need to be in order for the market to respond positive today? Sure. So I'm going to preface it with I have no idea what I'm talking about. I might be wildly wrong about anything and everything I say. Do not copy me. I'm not an investment professional. Don't sue me, guys. I have no idea sometimes what I'm talking about. Sometimes I do, but sometimes I don't. Definitely not guaranteeing anything and definitely can't predict anything, especially in terms of the economic reports. I do trade off stream. I'm not even claiming to be some wildly profitable trader, anything like that. Top 3 worst traders of all time ever. With that said, though, chat, with that said. With that said, I think the market is probably back to a good is good scenario. What do I mean by that? I think payroll numbers need to come in. I think payroll numbers should be coming in high. Unemployment numbers should come in low, hopefully. And I think those two outcomes are going to equal positive market responses. Good payroll numbers, higher than expected payroll numbers, and lower than expected unemployment should equal positive market reactions. At the same time, there's a couple nuances of this that you want to be wary of. Number one, sometimes the first move is the wrong move. First move is a lot of the time the wrong move. All right. Number two, I have no idea if this is going to happen or not. Nothing is predictable. Okay. Nothing is predictable in markets in that way. In terms of what I mean by this is economic reports are not the most predictable thing. Sometimes you'll have super high payroll numbers and the market tanks. Sometimes you'll have super high payroll numbers and the market flies. Sometimes you have higher than expected jobless claims and the market goes up. Like more people filing for unemployment makes the market go up. It's just not definitive in terms of reactions. We can guess, we can try to predict it, but in the end, it's its own animal. You know, the market is like a twister, if you will, in terms of economic data. Nobody freaking knows which way it's going to go. We can bet on probabilities though. Yeah, the Russell has been flying up. All right, Z. Are we buying or selling gold now? Should we buy gold? Are you really just saying the same thing? Say something else besides buy or sell gold, Z, or I'm gonna ban you and assume you're a bot, brother. Yeah, the Russell's been up a ton too, man. Like if you look at RTY, which is the Russell, Russell has bounced up this morning a little bit, but it's down big this morning. Russell finally starting correct. Russell has dropped from 2300s down to 1150s. Hi, Mr. BT. What's your bias? My bias is I probably want to see higher. I think the market, as well as I think it will be good to see good economic data today. I think low unemployment, high payroll numbers is a good thing, and that's what I want to see is good economic reports. Again, high payrolls, low unemployment data is what I want. But again, I might be wrong here. Who knows? We'll see. Again, what 3 charts do you want on stream, guys? We got the SPY, we got gold. We can put one more up. You know, we can also do this, which is what we did yesterday, which might work here. So we did this yesterday where we put like a couple different charts up. Here's NVIDIA. We can put like Bitcoin maybe down here as well. There's Bitcoin. Bitcoin at 65K today. So we'll keep it like this. This is fine. All right, guys, I'm also going to throw it in sub-only mode, chat. If you haven't already, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I appreciate it. Yeah, so there you go. So we also put it in sub-only mode. If you haven't already, subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit the like button. Looks like they fixed their algo. What's up, David? David, I got armbarred yesterday, and it freaking hurt, bro. It freaking hurt. Again, it was a good moment. Like, I've been helping this guy train for the last couple months. I'm just a white belt, and so I've just kind of been his training buddy. I'm not trying to teach him. I don't know enough to teach him. But I've been his training buddy. I've been showing him some stuff that I learned, and I've probably tapped him out like 30 or 40 times. Yesterday, he finally caught me, and he celebrated in front of the class. And then the coach gave him a stripe for it, which made me feel good. It did make me feel good, you know. It made me feel good because the coach said, if you tap out our white belt murderer. He called me the white belt murderer, which I'll take as a compliment. Again, I tapped too freaking late, bro. My arm hurts. It's hard to extend it right now. I'm not going to be able to do jiu-jitsu today. Anyways, we got 6 minutes, Chad. 6 minutes. Yeah, dude. 6 minutes, guys. 6 minutes. I can show you the NASDAQ 100. But I think NVIDIA is such a influence over markets. It's important to watch right now. Yeah, made me feel good. My arm's sore. No, I congratulated him, man. He was super excited. He's super excited because we've been trading for months, never been able to catch me. Like, he's never been able to catch me. Like, I've given him turtle position. I've given him side control. He's never been able to catch me. So he finally caught me, and I'm okay with him celebrating. Like, you know, as long as he doesn't do it every time, you know, he's fine. The Russell pull it back some here. Yeah, I trade a little bit of Muay Thai too. Muay Thai, I don't know. They're both different things, man. If you can learn both. I said it before, I'll say it again. A well-timed leg kick is one of the most discouraging things from somebody wanting to fight you. Somebody wants to fight you, kicking them in the leg a couple hard times. You know, that's usually it. Very discouraging thing. I think in that regard, Muay Thai is one of the best you could learn for self-defense. It's a little bit too offensive sometimes, but boxing's really good too. Anyways, back to the market, guys. We got 5 minutes. 5 minutes. NVIDIA at 105s. Will you buy Amazon at this level? I bought a little bit of Amazon. I bought a little bit of Amazon earlier, but I'm not taking a big position at all. I think there's too much risks moving forward. Rate cuts in a month and a half. You know, CPI not next week, but the week after. I just think there's a lot of stuff going on, chat, that we have to be very, very, very careful of. And so it's important to just be smart right now. And, you know, I don't mind buying stuff, but if I do buy up anything right now, it's small. Like, we bought up Intel, we bought small share size, we bought up a little bit of Amazon this morning. Again, small share size, and I'm more taking a cautious approach portfolio-wise for me. If you're fighting somebody like Eddie Hall, you better just run. If I see Eddie Hall on the street and he's got, like, beef with me, I'm running, dude. Yeah, that's not even a shot to my ego, dude. You run too. NVIDIA is the most company for its dominance. Yeah, so NVIDIA is what moves the market right now. It really does. If NVIDIA drops, the reason the market's corrected a little bit over the last few weeks is because NVIDIA has dropped 30% from its highs, 25, 30%. So. All right, here we go, chat. We got about 2,000 people watching this live stream. Did I put it in sub-only mode? I think I did. We did. All right, cool. Again, guys, major report. Gold at 2,500s broke lifetime highs this morning. SPY at 537s. I'm going to put the Q up. Should I put the SPY or Q up, chat? We got 3 minutes here, chat. 3 minutes. Again, should I put the SPY or Q up? What do you guys think? I don't know, man. SPY or Q up, chat? Q, SPY, SPY. Most people want the SPY. I'll keep it up. It's all good. There's Bitcoin. Here, I'll put the SPY and I'll put the Q underneath this here. All right, guys, here we go. We got 2.5 minutes, guys. 2.5 minutes. I get about 2,000 people here live. Yeah, people are looking at bonds today for sure. For sure. Again, do me a favor, tap that like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, guys. I appreciate the love. Thanks so much. Whew, you guys ready? 2 minutes here, guys. 2 minutes. What happened with Intel today? Intel's down a lot overnight. I think they had earnings yesterday or the day before. All right, guys. This timer's definitely off, so I'm going to pause this and try to fix it here so you get a real timer. All right, guys. And we're going to start it right now. All right, so this timer's pretty accurate here, guys. Pretty accurate. We got 1 minute and 6 seconds left. Hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you're fully caught up on stream, guys. Again, we got over 2,000 people here live. Give me your last minute predictions here, chat. What do you think unemployment shows up at? What percentage? What do you think payroll numbers show up as? Again, what percentage? Again, guys, 40 seconds. All right, guys, we got 30 seconds. You guys ready? 30 seconds, chat. Really about 20 seconds. 4.4, 4.5. All right, here we go. This is it. This is it, chat. All right, guys. Here we go. Here's the report. Here's the report. Again, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And here's the report right now. All right, guys. Payroll number showed up at 114, way lower than expected. Way lower than expected. Unemployment rate showed up at 4.3%. 4.3%. Definitely a worse economic report, I think. 4.3% unemployment. 114,000 for non-farm payrolls. Everything worse than expected economics wise. And again, this is not good for the market. This is definitely worse economic data. So again, definitely not what we want to see. Unemployment spiking up. Payroll numbers low. Better for inflation, but worse for the economy here. And so, yeah, guys, market is negatively reacting. Massive negative reaction in stocks. Definitely not good. Again, 4.3% unemployment. 114,000 payroll data. Definitely bad. Definitely bad. And again, the market, as I said, is probably going to react in that way where a worse economy data is going to cause a negative reaction in markets. And it has. Private payroll showed up at 97K, much lower than expected here, chat. Unemployment rate, again, 4.3%. Spike it up. This is not good. You know, I'll put this data up on screen. This is not good. Bad economic data for sure here. Wow. I guess the real question is, guys, should we cut rates next month? I think a rate cut is almost inevitable next month, guys. Almost inevitable. You know, I think that's what this means. SPY all the way down to 534, so the market is negatively reacting. Gold spiking up big here, guys. Gold spiking up big. The question is, does this trigger a bigger correction in stocks? Yeah, I'm going to end this poll, guys. And again, interact with me here. Chat, interact with me. So again, we got thousands of votes. 63% says, does the market rebound? With much worse economic data today, do we enter recession? Or do we cut rates in September? That's too easy of a question. I want to do a better question than that. Market is dumping down here, guys. Again, the SPY all the way down at 534s. The Q is at 449s here. Tesla dumping down. Here's a better question. Do we enter recession in the next, what, 6 months? Yes or no? Yes or no? Vote on the poll. Yeah, definitely not good economic data here, guys. So look at the SPY. SPY down at 530s. Massive dumps here in markets, guys. Massive dumps in market. We're at 534s. Q down to 448s. Gold at 2,500. All right, guys. So again, we'll see what happens here, chat. We'll see what happens. I'm curious. What do you think happens here? All right, Amazon bouncing back up a little bit, though. Yeah, Intel's down some for sure. MGM. Microsoft, I'm still pretty green on it. Might take some of my profit off of Microsoft here. I'll probably cut some of my positions, guys, and then wait and buy back. I want to protect the thousands I'm up on the year, and I think there's some moments that is justifiable. I'm not telling anybody to do anything. Do whatever you want to do, but I got to protect the profitable trades that I'm currently in. Now, there's a couple stocks that will do well. There's a couple stocks I'm staying in, too. Gold doing really well today. I think companies like Home Depot are still going to do pretty well. We're going to stay in our Amazon trade that we bought. I am going to cut a couple of these positions, though, for sure. What do you guys think is the good move right now? Do you think the market corrects more? Or do you think it's time to buy the dip? Definitely worse payroll data. We're also in Meta. I think Meta's still a pretty cheaply priced company, though. I guess the music is fitting. Gold spiking up, though. Look at NVIDIA all the way back down to $100 a share. Chat, $100 a share. Tesla falling. Yeah, I'm going to stay in my Intel position just because that's small. It's not worth risking. SPY is close to all-time highs. Needs to retest it. Yeah, I mean, the SPY is doing okay still. The Q is still fine as well, right? Like, we're not in a crash here either, guys. So this is not a crash. So if I pull up the Q and we pull up, the Q is going to be the most influenced by this. We're still in this upward trend here, you know. But I think there's risks right now to this economic data negatively impacting the market. Also, guys, if you haven't already, again, if you haven't already, check out my sponsor, Apex. Apex recently continued their sale going on where, again, Apex, if you want to day trade, do not risk your own money to day trade. It makes absolutely no sense, especially if you're a new day trader. Most day traders lose money. I know I lost thousands of dollars when I first got started. You're probably going to lose thousands too if you risk it. And so it doesn't make any sense. Instead, try a funded account program. People give them heat sometimes, but it just makes sense, right? They give you a demo. They test your skill with a demo account first. If you could pass the test with the demo, Then they fund you a regular account between 25K up to 300K with a 90% split. And so the base one, they're going to give you a 25K demo. If you can make 1,500 in profit without losing 1,500 first and following their rules, this costs $30, $30 a month. It also comes with real-time data. And if you were going to buy real-time data in a demo account without these funded account programs, it's going to cost about $30, guys. Pretty good value. And so the value is there. If you pass this test, you get 25K in funding, 90% split. If you lose, you're out $30. It's not the end of the world. It's the best of both worlds. And they pay out millions of dollars. You can day trade gold. You can day trade the SPY price action in the E-mini. You can day trade the Q price action in the NASDAQ 100 futures contract. A lot of other stuff to trade too. Great way to learn how to day trade. And if you lose, it's not the end of the world. And they pay out hundreds of millions. They paid out over $250 million to their traders. They fund thousands of traders. Check them out. Again, with that said, though, they pay me money. I am biased because of that for sure. If they paid you money, you'd be biased too. But yeah, they're a sponsor of mine. They pay me money. I'm biased. Understand CFTC 4.41. Hypothetical or simulated performance have limitations, guys. Yeah, so again, to get the max discount, use coupon code BT. And again, here's the link if you want to check it out. I appreciate the love. Let me get this big old disclaimer out the way. That is not high unemployment. Well, it's not objective. It's not high relative to the, but it's definitely higher. It's high enough to where we don't really want it, you know. And again, my portfolio is still technically green. I'm up still thousands on the year, but again, I try to call a spade here, you know. I have historically been against rate cuts because I'm scared inflation's going to spike, and I think people are going to be even more unhappy. I'm starting to change that tune. I told you guys, if unemployment came close to 4.4%, I'm okay with doing 1 or 2 small rate cuts this year. I do not think we should do massive rate cuts. I don't think we need to do massive rate cuts. And with that said, Meta's bouncing back, Tesla's bouncing back, the SPY is bouncing back, Tesla's bouncing back a little bit. It doesn't mean it's going to hold, and we'll see what happens. But I'm okay if we cut a little bit of rates. What I honestly don't want, guys, is I don't want the Fed. I don't want QE to happen. I don't want quantitative tightening to happen. So the average unemployment rate over the past 20 years, I think, is the most accurate gauge of it, right? The SPY bouncing back some, so is the Q. Gold spiking up to all-time highs again, hit 2520s. Here, chat, 2520s. So the average, so again, to put this into perspective, guys, the average unemployment rate over the last 20 years is 5.9%. 5.9%. So 4.3% is not good. It makes me a little bit more willing to cut a little bit more rates. But again, I just hope we don't print money and do quantitative easing. I don't think we need to do QE. I don't think it's going to help anything doing QE. And I don't think anybody should want us to do more QE. It's going to make problems much worse. Someone answered, do I buy gold? I don't know. Yeah, so definitely, again, guys, definitely a big negative report today for sure. I don't think you can look at this report in a positive light at all. But the only optimistic silver lining here is maybe it's going to do more damage to inflation with economic weakness and higher unemployment. Yeah, the SOM rule is good. I do like that rule, but still, it doesn't quite mean we're there yet. Again, technically, we need the inversion to go away first. If you think we're going to hit a recession, the inversion in the yield curve needs to go away first. It's not going to happen before the yield curve inverted remains, you know. CBDCs are mostly just like trying to scare people. Like, CBDCs are not the big risk you think they are. Like, CBDCs are just like the Fed's form of like PayPal. right? We already have digital money. It's not even, regardless of whether there's CBDCs or not, the world is mostly digital in terms of money. Most people don't use cash anymore, you know, so like that's mostly just trying to scare people. Is bad news good news? I think good news is good news and bad news is bad news right now. And so I think higher unemployment and lower payroll numbers is bad news, you know. Once the Fed starts to cut rates, they normally continue cutting rates. Yeah, I think they're expecting here. Let's see what the CME watch tool it says. This is definitely going to show almost everybody expecting rate cuts next month. Almost everybody's going to be expecting rate cuts. Yeah, look at this. So the probabilities have changed, guys. So at this point in time, we're at 5.5% right now. So people are expecting a 75 basis point cut in September. Or no, I'm sorry, a 50 basis point cut. Yeah, so people are expecting a 50 basis point cut mostly now. Instead of a 25 basis point cut here, this is 50 right here. So most people are expecting 50 basis point rate cut. And if it's one rate cut, fine, and we don't continue, but I don't want to do multiple back-to-back-to-back cuts. I think that's a bad move. What do you guys think? 50 or 25 next month? It's not the same. I mean, we're looking at averages, brother. Oh, you're talking about CBDCs. Yeah, I mean, listen, digital money isn't the same as what. Yeah, I know, but listen, BS. So I'm going to tell you this, right, brother. 50, 25, again, 50 or 25 basis point cut. You're expecting the gov not to mess it. Yeah, I mean, hey, that's what they do, though, brother. All right, guys. NVIDIA back up to 104. Starting to look better. Meta's all the way back up too. Wow. Yeah, things are looking a little bit better. They're starting to bounce back up. SPY back up a little bit. NVIDIA back up. The day trading session today is going to be chaotic. Chat, it's going to be absolutely nuts right now. So, all right. So, anyways, going back to what we got a discussion on CBDCs, right? So they're going to make you think that CBDCs are like, you know, this huge, massive risks. But what you're not understanding is, number one, Fed now is not really any type of big influence. Maybe we're talking about two different things. Like CBDCs might be different than Fed now. Are you talking about Fed now? BS, are you talking about Fed now? Will we get crazy volatility today during the day trading session? I don't know. It's possible. Honestly, it's been chaos today, chat. Chaos. We've grown a lot, though. My channel, thank you guys so much here, man. My channel has been a resource for people during these times. I try to be honest, and I think that's what helps. You know, like, it's all about setting yourself apart from the rest. When everybody else selling courses and super expensive services on publicly available content and pretending to be the greatest traders of all time, me, a humble top 3 trader of all time, just tries to be real. And, you know, when you look this good, it's hard to be, you know, this good at YouTube, but, you know, we try. That's all we can do here. Anyways, going back to this, are we talking about, let me, where'd he go? All rate cut charts looking like the drop on a roller coaster. Hey, nice. Spawn. Be careful what you wish for. I don't think you guys dive deep enough then. Glad you're here, bro. Hey, thanks, man. Numbers are bullish. I don't know, man. I think these numbers are bearish. Depends. Like, the market and the economy are two different things. These numbers are certainly bearish economy-wise. Yeah, it's been hectic today. Will the market recover some today, chat? Will the markets recover some? I was here when John had 70K. Now he's doubled. Good stuff. Hey, thanks, man. Yeah, I was trying to tell my daughter. I was talking to my daughter about all this, right? And my daughter is like teenage, so she's a teenager, like young. She's like 15, and you know, I tried to tell her about my channel, right? So I was like, hey, if you guys ever want to work on the channel, my daughter has what we call embarrassitis, so she gets nervous and embarrassed too easily. And I tried to tell her, like, when you're live streaming, when I first started this channel, somebody commented weeks ago and they were like, hey, look where you started and look at where you are now. That's crazy growth, right? So they pulled up a video that I posted like a long time ago. Horrible video. I had a customer service voice. But the internet can be like a nerve-wracking thing. So the internet can be a nerve-wracking thing. And it's intimidating at first to run a live stream, right? It really is genuinely intimidating. Like, I know... when I first got started, I didn't show my face. Super nervous about even talking on stream, right? And I would talk kind of quiet. I would talk like this. Hey guys, so we're looking at the market today, and you know, the market looks good, guys. Super nervous. People would make fun of my voice. They would say, your voice sucks, John. Eventually you just gain more confidence in it, and eventually it becomes easier and easier. And that's anything in life, right? I guess the point is, if you want good things to happen, you got to put yourself out there sometimes. So cheers to you guys for the growth. I appreciate the love. Yeah, I still don't know what that was, Rich. So Rich says, I remember him trading in the hospital bed. Yeah, dude, I had nothing else to do at the hospital, right? This was years ago, right? So they didn't let everybody in the hospital. I didn't know what to do. I was sitting there bored, man. Just kind of bored. Like, I had IVs hooked up. Like, it was weird, you know? And I was just kind of sitting there, and the internet was good enough, too, for me to stream. But yeah, they still, like, we don't know what that was, bro. Like, that was super weird. Be yourself. Marcellatine. I don't like Marcellatines like enough. Like, I've hit a couple Marcellatines on people. Marcellatine's a high elbow guillotine, right? So a Marcellatine is kind of like like a guillotine where it's more like that, right? Like, that's a Marcellatine. I hit it on some people. I like the 10-finger guillotine. You know, that one's nice. Is it time to buy the dip, guys? I guess is the question. Is it time to buy the dip? I don't know. Oh, my nose is stopped up, dude. I ate a grilled cheese and tomato soup right before I went to sleep, and now my nose is all stopped up this morning. The SPY is at 530, so the SPY is starting to rebound here. Is it time to buy the dip, guys? I don't know. Q is bouncing back too. Q is at 450s. Again, I'm not saying it is or it isn't. Is it time to buy the dip? I'm asking you guys at home. What do you guys think? Is it time to buy the freaking dip? Guys, I don't know, man. I think there's risks either way. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna wait for a dippier dip to get in. You know, we'll see how that goes. All right, guys. Again, this might be one of the craziest volatile days all week. Certainly is looking like it. We don't have any other economic reports today, do we? We got factory orders. So, maybe. Yeah, so with the NFP data today, unemployment spikes. Again, the payroll news today is crazy, guys. All right, guys. Gold spike it up here as well, guys. Gold's still making moves. Whew. All right. We're going to try to make some money today at the opening bell. We're going to try. Stuff starting to bounce back. Q is back. SPY is back. Gold's testing lifetime highs right now. A lot of people are flocking towards gold to hedge against the economic risks that we're currently seeing with high unemployment and weak payroll data. Nice trading week. Always mess it up. Me too, bro. Wanted to buy DoorDash, but didn't. Funds over. No, we buy gold for our chart. Isn't it good news? It depends on what you think is good. If you want to buy up cheap stocks and see weakness in the economy, maybe. This channel has evolved so amazingly seriously. You get an instant sub for me joining to hear the words I like the 10-finger guillotine. I'm a guillotine person, bro. I'm too tunnel visioned on the guillotine, right? I kind of developed like my own, not my own, right? I'm not claiming to invent it. I'm a spazzy white belt, you know, but I got a couple stripes. I'm not brand new. I use a front headlock system. And so my coach told me not to guillotine people, but I still use the front headlock system because he says that, like, he said that I guillotine people because it works. Because I do, I catch people. And I've tapped higher belts a bunch with them. Like, I can catch people with guillotines, but I'm so tunnel visioned on the guillotine that the rest of my game can sometimes not evolve as much as it should, right? So for the last month, I've been trying not to guillotine people at my gym because it's too easy for me. And you know, but I do use the front headlock system. Like, I'll use the front headlock system to take people down and try to spin around and take their back and get my hooks in, and you know, if we're in gi, go for like a bow and arrow choke or something like that. But point is, I'm not allowed to guillotine people right now per my coach. You know, he thinks that I'm too reliant on it, and I'm relying on it because it works again, but I don't, you know, I gotta up my game a little bit, start working on other stuff. But yes, with that said, I love the 10 guillotine. I haven't Marcellatined that many people, but I've tried it. Lately, I've been playing around a lot with the baseball bat choke, you know, which is really fun choke. So yeah, we're having fun with it. Anyways, NVIDIA back at 104s. Yeah, what do you think? Okay, you keep asking me the same thing. I don't know. I avoid it, Edward. I avoid it because the government there is too unpredictable, and so it's super risky investing. Per Jack Ma and Alibaba, I'm not investing over there. It's too risky. Too much change. All right, guys. And with that said, we are going to day trade today. Payroll numbers high. Be ready. All right, so this is a massive day. Payrolls and unemployment. All right, guys. So again, today is a massive day as payrolls and unemployment showed worse economic reports. Will we get more red or a bounce in green action today? Let us know live, chat. Yesterday we had PMI data, manufacturing data mostly. Today we had NFP payrolls. Yeah. So y'all be careful, chat. Be careful. Crazy day. And hopefully we get some good action. Again, I'm pretty excited because it looks like they fixed my algo again, you know. You know, manufacturing data, a lot of people are saying is what initially tanked the market. I don't know. All right, guys. Sorry, you hear me typing up away. Payroll data live today. All right, so again, today is non-farm payroll day. All right, guys, so we are getting a little pullback here. Again, we'll see if we hold. I'm ready for it. Also, I think we get an afternoon rally. Simply Bears taking profit. Maybe. Simply Bears. Yeah. Are you really good at typing a keyboard or faking that you're typing so fast the noise is so annoying? Sorry. I mean, Arun, do you think I'm just kind of, you know? Like, bro, I can type pretty quickly. I can type about 100 words a minute, give or take, on a good test. Again, I'm not going to do one right now, but my best was about 96 words a minute, so close to 100 words a minute. Anyways, the SPY is pulling down here. Meta's testing lows. Tesla bounced it up a little bit. Again, we're going to see if we rebound today or what. BJJ isn't useful for street fights, Muay Thai over everything. How dare you? Of course, Jiu-Jitsu is useful under the right conditions, right? Muay Thai is good. The Muay Thai rules can be kind of crazy. Like, you can't, the only way you can hit your opponent is if he has his guard up. Like, that sounds crazy to me. Look, I like boxing, Muay Thai, and Jiu-Jitsu, you know. I've trained a little bit in all of them, but the most fun one to learn is Jiu-Jitsu, because Jiu-Jitsu you spar every day, no matter what, and it's the most tested martial art as well. Muay Thai you spar at some gyms too, which is great. And Muay Thai, again, there's no more discouraging thing if somebody wants to fight you than kicking them right in the leg, right under the knee, you know. Most of the time, if you do that a couple times, they're going to back up and rethink the whole altercation. So I do agree in that regard for self-defense. Muay Thai is probably the best, right? Just because those leg kicks are a different animal. Most people do not. Most people are not used to getting kicked in the leg, and it's just a different feeling. Anyways, guys, 9 a.m. bell's about to happen. I'm trying not to type as much, but we gotta type. Should I buy a silent keyboard? Is there such a thing? People complain about it a lot. Alright, guys, here's 9 a.m. You guys ready? We are going to be day trading live today. Again, Chad, be ready. Let's do this. Hopefully we get some good stuff. Let me make sure redirect is working on this stream. Again, it looks like they finally fixed my algo, man. Algos have been off for a lot of YouTubers for the last like week or two. They're finally back up, it seems. They have quieter keyboards. Should I order one? Somebody tell me one. Still though, my guillotine's probably pretty solid for self-defense. Like, guillotine's like just kind of like a old school headlock, you know. But if you're really good at it, there's not much they can do. I like to guillotine people and roll into mount is my favorite thing. So I'll like jump a guillotine, pull guard when they escape, try to get out. I'll roll into mount, and then sometimes I'll finish it from mount. But other times I'll like transition to an arm triangle because they're so focused on getting out of the guillotine. And then if that doesn't work, I'll get them in. You know, yeah, it's just a lot of stuff. Anyways, I'll talk about Jiu-Jitsu, MMA, and fighting all day. But let's see if the market bounces back. Again, NVIDIA at 104s. Let the man type. Logitech K80. 6. All right, I'll check it out. Is it silent? All right, guys. Day trading streams coming soon here. You guys ready for it? All right. Honestly, my day trading streams have been picking up steam as well here. Again, gold all the way down to 2,500. So gold correcting a little bit back down. Gold broke lifetime highs today, chat. Again, lifetime highs currently at 25.12s. Here, chat, 25.12s. So gold flying up, making massive moves for gold. Again, the question I gotta ask you guys is this: Do we see bullish action today at the opening bell? Like, are we gonna get bullish action today, or does the market dump at the opening bell? I don't know. What do you guys think in chat right now? Let me know right now in chat. Do you guys think we get bullish action today, or does the market dump again at the opening bell? We got some big important levels. Let's take a look. I think the big important levels obviously are the lows of the day here at 533 even on the SPY. Very important relevant level. I think on the Q we have 447.50 right here, exactly at 447.50 on the Q. On the NASDAQ, if we're looking at the NASDAQ here, NVIDIA, $100. Easy. Slightly under the low of the day at 101s is NVIDIA's $100 milestone level. Massive, massive, massive level for NVIDIA. Massive, massive level. Again, if we're looking at the Q, or we're looking at the NASDAQ here, I got to go with 18.5 on the NASDAQ, 18.5K on the NASDAQ. If we're looking at the E-mini S&P, you can look at, you know, again, 53, 5,400 is a big level. I think 53, the lows of the day, again, on all of these is what you want to watch. If we dump underneath those at the opening bell, there's risks, there's problems. And so, yeah, we'll see what happens, guys. With that said, we are going to transition to our day trading stream. Don't go anywhere. We're going to day trade the opening bell live, cover all the other big news that comes out in the future and stock market. And so if you want to watch us day trade, stick around. You don't have to go anywhere. As soon as we close this stream down, it's immediately going to bring you to the day trading stream. So as soon as we close this down, guys, it's immediately going to bring you to the day trading stream. Stick around. And again, we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, we'll make some money. If it doesn't bring you to the day trading stream for whatever reason, go to this link. Okay, if it doesn't, for whatever reason, bring you to the day trading stream, go to this link. And yeah, let's get ready. There's the day trading stream link. Again, as soon as I close this down, it should immediately bring you there, though. As soon as I close it down, it should immediately bring it. So we'll see you guys over there. Let's day trade.